Okay, DOM manipulation. Today we will be talking about DOM, but not this kind of DOM. The DOM tree structure, this DOM is basically the same one you started a few days ago. And again, it basically just stands for document object model. It's a hierarchical model of the objects contained in the HTML documents. And so in an HTML document, for example, you have elements that refer to everything that the DOM will render. And that's how the DOM can understand what's in the HTML document. When you're thinking about DOM, it's pretty straightforward. It's basically a programming interface for web documents, and it really is just parsed HTML. DOM organizes the objects of an HTML document into a hierarchical model, the simplest way to remember it. And here is a side-by-side view where you could see how the structure of an HTML document appears as the hierarchy or a tree when the browser is rendering it. And the file structure the typical file structure that you'll be using for this curriculum will be to have an HTML document, a JavaScript file, and a cascading style sheet. I'm going to stop the slides there. I know it's very quick, but today we're actually going to be going over the README. I'll run through it first, demoing how it goes, and then you guys will, on your own, go through it again, just so you get the muscle memory down of writing in HTML and JavaScript. So let me switch screens. And we will just do a quick run through. I can't share both my browser and my text editor simultaneously. So we will do a quick run through the README, and then I'll demo it for you all in code, in Visual Studio Code. Let's see. Okay. I believe that is the wrong day. Okay. So today we are going to take DOM manipulation up a notch and see how we can mostly dispense of the HTML altogether, replacing it with JavaScript. So in this example here, you can see that there is a lot of dividers created, and all these dividers are used to create a grid of buttons containing numbers. Now, as you all know and have been reminded throughout the curriculum, dry coding is where you do not repeat yourself. So with JavaScript, you can accomplish what's done here in HTML with less repetition. So we'll first take a look at the HTML portion, see how it renders, and then we will cut that all down to this HTML file here, breaking this HTML document down. As mentioned before, DOM needs to understand every element inside an HTML document, and it does throw through names. So HTML is the type of document, head is for the header. Things like meta is referencing information and data that is not actually rendered in your browser, but it's still information that may be important to what is being rendered. Here is a script element, and this is specifically what calls the app.js script. And then we have a title, and from there, we close the head and we start the body, which at this point will be empty. This exercise will have you add a few more things, and then you'll organize them into these functions just to clean things up a bit. And at the end of it all, you should have the equivalent of what you were seeing in HTML but in JavaScript. So let me switch screens again. Any questions so far, by the way? Cool. All right, let me know if this is too small. I will size it up a bit. Excuse me. And first, let's run through what this will look like at the start of the exercise. This is where we have all the HTML dividers listed out. And if we were to run this through the live server, we could see that we have, oh, probably not seeing this either. We can see that we have a welcome page with a bunch of boxes in a grid and the ability to transform them as you mouse over them. Going back to the code, we are going to be replacing this with JavaScript. So you'll start by commenting all this out or just flat out deleting it. And you'll be typing out the more condensed version, the one where we have a script element calling the app JavaScript script. And from there, we will create a JavaScript. And initially, it will look closer to this, where nothing is being rendered. Not going to switch screens for that. I'll load this though, and then we can see what that looks like. And it is, can I just share my window? All right, this might work. This might work a lot better. So this is what is currently rendering in the browser. And if we switch back to our VS Code, we can go to the next part of the exercise where we create a function that creates the header, and we call this header to be rendered. That's the same thing, actually. Let's go down here. Now, if we refresh, we will see that it still looks empty, but if we were to inspect this, we can see the different elements defined in the HTML as they are being called by the DOM. So we've got a header, divider, and from here, you will be adding a few more elements. Basically, you'll be creating functions so that all of this can be loaded a little more dynamically. And the end result will be something like this. A page where you have all of your dividers created dynamically as opposed to statically. And you can interact with all of these dividers. So what's happening here is we are using a for loop to generate all of these boxes. And so we're iterating through this loop with a size of 26. And within each loop, we are creating an element called div. and then we are styling that element. We are changing the background color, the border, padding, etc. And we are also passing in the index so that it can render the number that it is at. And above this, we have the container that contains it. And we also have a function window on load that calls all of these functions above when the window loads. And so that is how the DOM is converting everything in the HTML file to what you see in your browser. Any questions so far? Cool. It is a very straightforward exercise. I know you saw me do a lot of copy and pasting, but to get the muscle memory down, avoid the copy and pasting. Just run through the exercise, get a feel for all these tags, and we will reconvene at about 6:30. How does that sound? Cool. All right, feel free to take a break and head back whenever you'd like. Maybe limit it to like 15 minutes. And again, we will reconvene at 6:30. See y'all.
I'm actually gonna head out for the night. I was here for lecture. I'm still at the hospital.
Oh, right on. Okay, yeah. And you let me know earlier, so that's fine. I understand.
All right, cool. See you
All
guys
right.
later.
See ya.